Well, folks, the Nikki Haley saga continues. You know, in every good story, there has to be a twist, right? Something unexpected, a turn of events. Well, I'll tell you one thing, that certainly doesn't apply here, mostly because the Nikki Haley story isn't really a good one. It's mostly pretty stale, totally contrived, but most importantly, lacking of substance, and on a single path, and that path is headed directly downwards. A downward spiral, some may say, but I'd argue less of a spiral and more of just a direct path. You know, I know her numbers are kind of okay, but if you contrast her numbers with how much big donor bucks is being spent behind her, her campaign has been an utter disaster. PR fail after PR fail. The fact that anyone is falling for her neocon grift is certainly an interesting phenomenon that I think should be studied, but in the end, Nikki Haley is flailing and failing, and while this week, it just got a whole lot worse for Hillary Clinton's Republican doppelganger, as Rand Paul goes frickin' scorched earth mode, essentially ending Nikki Haley's career with one tweet and one tweet alone, or rather I guess a video clip, but it's attached to a tweet. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so the other day Rand Paul released this video.
Hey everybody. As you know, I've been pretty quiet about the presidential race, which is kind of unusual for me, but tune in tomorrow morning and I've got something very important to say on the presidential race.
He announced online across his social media that he had a big announcement in terms of who he was supporting for the nomination, but it turned out that Rand Paul never intended to announce who he was supporting in the nomination, but rather who he wasn't supporting. Take a look at this.
Good morning, everyone. As I told you yesterday, I'm ready to say something about the presidential race. I've had a long relationship with Donald Trump, and there's a lot to like there. I'm also a big fan of a lot of the fiscal conservatism of Ron DeSantis. I think Vivek Ramaswamy's been an important voice. Also have listened to and met with the independent Bobby Kennedy. I'm not yet ready to make a decision, but I am ready to make a decision on someone who I cannot support. So I'm announcing this morning that I'm Never Nikki. And if you go to nevernikki.net, you can let her know that you're not a supporter either. I don't think any informed or knowledgeable libertarian or conservative should support Nikki Haley. I've seen her attitude towards our interventions overseas. I've seen her involvement in the military-industrial complex, $8 million being paid to become part of the team. But I've also seen her indicate that she thinks you should be registered to use the internet, that people posting ideas anonymously. I think she fails to understand that our republic was founded upon people like Ben Franklin, Sam Adams, Madison, John Jay, and others who posted routinely. For fear of the government, they posted routinely anonymously. And I think her failure to really understand that, or to think that you should register through the government somehow for the internet, is something that should disqualify her in the minds of all libertarian-leaning conservatives. So I'm announcing today I'm Never Nikki. You can go to nevernikki.net and sign up and show her that you're Never Nikki also. Thanks.
The quote is absolutely perfect. I'm announcing today that I'm Never Nikki. What an absolute savage. And look, this isn't somebody that's viewed as a deep MAGA loyalist or somebody who plays into the political theater of it all. This is Rand Paul. Rand Paul is a pillar of credibility. He's got arguably one of the best reputations in Washington. He's a guy who holds his convictions and pretty much never wavers. He's not a flip-flopper. He's not selling himself to the highest bidder. He follows in the footsteps of his father, Ron Paul. I've said it a million times, but Ron Paul's the only reason I'm into politics in the first place. Back when I think I was around 13, 14 years old, Ron Paul was one of the first viral politicians on YouTube. I mean, he's the guy, and Rand Paul is pretty much up there with him. If Rand Paul comes out and says you are not to be trusted, I mean, it's pretty much game over for you. And he hit on all the same points that I think everyone's starting to see at this point. That Nikki Haley is a bought and paid for military-industrial complex shill. I think at this point everyone sees it and there's really very little argument against it. Even from Nikki Haley herself, you know, she's been targeted with that exact accusation multiple times on the debate stage. She's never once even provided a response or an answer. She tends to just let it go in one ear, right out the other, and then of course simply ignore it and move on. She can't refute the claim because she knows it's true. She can't deny that she took millions of dollars from, let's say, big war, endless war interest. She can't deny the fact that her husband is tied to a shadowy defense firm, and honestly, I don't know how hard she's really trying to hide it, because her rhetoric pretty much confirms it all. Nikki Haley's entire platform, based on what we know so far, is let's continue to arm Ukraine and bomb the Middle East. Oh, and while we're at it, it. Let's make citizens have to register with their government ID to friggin' use social media. Absolute insanity. If Nikki Haley's a Republican, then I'm a space alien. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have a feeling that Nikki Haley's polling numbers are about to take a serious hit. Mostly because this meme is kind of becoming a reality. A lot of people are sharing this all over Twitter. DeSantis supporters, Trump supporters, Vivek supporters. Nikki Haley sucks. It's like I was saying the other day, I mean, Ron DeSantis turned on her hard. The dynamic between Vivek and Nikki Haley, well, that's an interesting thing. Donald Trump completely rejected Nikki Haley, and especially the notion of possibly accepting her as his vice presidential running mate. And now we have Rand Paul jumping on the bandwagon. It's not looking good, folks. And to make matters worse, there's also the leaked hot mic incident with Chris Christie where he said this.
But they don't want to hear it.
Right.
And there's, you know, we couldn't have been any clearer.
Right.
We couldn't have been any more direct or worked any harder. So,
and let's not forget she spent $68 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we've spent like
when you give land to China and places like that.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, she spent $68 million so far, just on TV. Spent $68 million so far, $59 million by DeSantis, and we spent 12. I mean, who's punching above their weight and who's getting a return on their investment, you know? And she's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
she hasn't even been
And she's still 20 points behind Trump in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
And he's still going to carry Iowa, right?
Yes. Oh, I talked to DeSantis called me, petrified that I would.
He's probably getting out after Iowa.
Well,
Even Chris Christie can see that she doesn't have what it takes. Again, another similarity between Nikki Haley and Hillary Clinton. I don't know, I'm kind of just here for it all. Not really much else to say on the whole Nikki Haley situation, but everything that surrounds her, everything that's been happening on the sidelines, I'm here for it. It's probably the perfect ending to the Nikki Haley saga. Rand Paul goes scorched earth mode, ending her political career. Oh, and just to show you that Rand Paul is the gift that keeps on giving, he also completely excoriated Mitch McConnell the other day, which again, I'm just here for it. It's a beautiful thing, so let's just end the video with that little clip.
Quickly, Senator, this border deal that the Republicans are cooking up, that Chuck Schumer and apparently Mitch McConnell and others are going to agree to that, you say?
It's a sellout. It's going to continue to allow illegal immigration, particularly migrants. It's saying, oh, we'll let 5,000 people come illegally a day, and then after that, we might try to stop the next 5,000 that day. It's completely a sellout, but it's because people like Senator McConnell care more about Ukraine than anything else, more than the border, more than anything else. He wants to send $60 billion of your money to Ukraine.
Do you think he would prefer Biden or Trump in the White House?
I think that
If you had to bet.
on this issue, he is more aligned with Biden. On the issue of funding, sending your money to Ukraine and sending it everywhere around the world, McConnell is much more closely aligned with Biden than he is with the Republican Party.
Rand Paul, casual. This is Casual
Thank
Tuesday.
you. Thank you. I heard it was
Kelly,
Casual
I
Tuesday.
approve. Okay. I was critical of it during the break. But now I'm like Anthony Fauci. I'm just changing private to public.
There you go.
All right, Senator. Great.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.